guys, it's Jessica, showing off my little Blythe girls, which is kind of hard because they're way up here, so I'm having to hold this camera up and I can't see it very well, so sorry for the wiggliness. But all kinds of girls here. There's factory fakey girls, and there's customized girls, and there's stock girls. But they're all adorable to me. And where's my little A-Zone girl? Oh, she's hiding over here. Here she is. Here she is. Okay. We'll come back down here. Okay. Hi. Okay, so I want to do, let me go to the page. I want to do the BJD Story Time Tag today. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen here that has the questions. So I guess it was Kohaku Creations who made this tag. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. I thought that she did. I watched it last night. I thought she said she made the tag. I think I just discovered her videos this last weekend, and she's really nice to listen to. I always like finding more dolly people making videos that I can watch. So I really like this tag. Has some really nice questions that let you talk about your characters and your stories. So who doesn't like that? Here is Gahern, and I meant to show him in the last video because I was talking about wigs and stuff. He's wearing a little bit out of character beanie. I do think it looks adorable on him, but he has stolen Amergen's wig, and I'd like his ears to be seen, but then the beanie doesn't stay on very good. I kind of have to hook it around his ears. He needs a wig cap. But I sure do like his wonderful elf ears to be seen. But he stole this wig, and I actually kind of like it on him. Just needs a few little wisps of hair. So I also recently discovered some shoes that fit the Dalshi body. This is the, I don't know, 28 meter, I don't know. But he's got giant feet. And I found Blue Blood dolls, which is in the States, or 70 centimeter dolls. And it says right on there that that they fit these Dalshi boys, like David Kunze. So it's that body. That's the body that Gahern has. And the feet are really big. They're beautiful, but they're really big, and it's hard to find shoes that fit them correctly. He's wearing some, these are Eiffel House boots, and they do fit him all right. I just don't kind of care for the style. I just don't really like him. I would like to get something different for him. So Blue Blood Dolls is in the States. I think they're like a little dealer, but they have some shoes that fit these guys. And there's a style that I want to get. I'm going to email them and see if they can get them back in brown, because that's what I'd like for him. Anyways, rambling on. Here's Garen. And he probably won't have this wig for very much longer because my heads should be delivering at any moment. BJD Storytime Tag. First question. What genre is your BJD story? So I guess like basic genre would be fantasy. You know, there's fiction and nonfiction, and there's fantasy and mystery and sci-fi. So I think it's definitely fits in the fantasy genre, and a lot of my inspiration from her stories come from actual mythology, and so there's a lot of that involved in it. I would say probably my current favorite genre to read and consume, and it's a relatively new genre, is they call it urban fantasy. So it's the idea of fantastical settings basically in a modern world, and Harry Potter in some ways could be considered a little bit urban fantasy, but it's I really like the, you know, just the idea that these things are going on around us, and there's different alternate universes that people write about where these things are common knowledge and not. So it's kind of in that story realm, if that makes any sense. So I'll go on. Number 2, are your characters based off of real people? You know, I wouldn't say that they're really based off anybody. I guess, you know, any story or ideas that you generate are based on your life experiences, the materials that you've consumed, you know, story-wise, just the things that you see and live through on a daily basis. So that's what I would say. But for me to say like, this character is based on this person, not so much, not really. Number 3, which character do you most relate to? I think I answered something similar to this in some other meme or tag, but I feel the most connection to Herla, as far as lots of parts of my personality. She's a healer, so I think that there's a lot of me and her, we deal with things a lot the same. I guess is how I would say. So I guess if somebody was based on a real person, it would be Herla, and she's based somewhat on myself. So yeah, it'd be Herla. She's probably my most intense and developed character as far as what I know about her and her story. And Neela is right up there too, her daughter. So those are my main characters, is what I would say. Number 4, which character's bio was the hardest to work on? Well, I don't think I used to write out bios and write out, you know, distinct information. So Herla and Neela and some other characters from my older RP days, they had bios regularly worked on and updated, and I don't do that so much anymore. I just don't write down things as much as I used to. It's more in my head, or I talk about here on videos, because this format is just easier for me. So I don't know, I can't really say who was most difficult. I've had some dolls that were difficult finding a character for, and I have that still don't have a strong character, so that happens. And that's okay, they don't have to, they can still be here. And I still love them, so because they're beautiful. Number 5, did you have to research anything in particular for your story? Yes, definitely. I research the heck out of everything. Anything that I want to talk about story-wise or character-wise, aspects of their personality, aspects of their culture, their background, I research the heck out of stuff. And for me, that's fun. That's allowing me to learn more things. And sometimes it's something that I've studied previously that comes up in a character, and I get to utilize that knowledge. So I'm a lifelong learner. So I really think that does nothing but make us. It enriches us. It enriches us as people to know about as many things as possible. Basically, it enriches your knowledge base and just your understanding of the world and other people and situations. Never stop learning. I beat on that drum a lot. Number 6, where does your story take place? In an actual place or made-up world? A little bit of both. There are parts that exist in the real world. The real world does exist in my stories. The world where most of my characters are living at this point in time is Eden Sphere, which is a realm of fairy. So it's a place where the Fae live, which could be thought of as a dimension that's connected to ours. There's lots of different ways that you could think about it, and I enjoy exploring that sort of thing. But I do, it is fun sometimes to think about my characters going to the real world, modern day world. I also like to have my characters visit and go to in other points in time, and most of my characters are not modern. They have come through all different types of ages and time periods in the real world, and they have come from that and up to and including the modern day. Maybe even into the future. I don't know if I really had a character who comes from the future, but it could be a possibility. Number 7, does your story have a bad boy or girl? Bad boy or bad girl, I guess is how I read that. So I think this question, I don't think this question is asking about villains. Maybe it is. I got the impression that this was like more in a rebel type of way, like biker or something. So that's kind of how I interpreted that question when I watched the videos about it. So yeah, I think that kind of rebellious attitude. Seamus and his cousin Lark are they're Fae seers. Basically, they are humans that have the ability to see through the glamour of that Faes have, so they can see them, and there's a family history of strict duty and obligations that they have because of this ability, and they see themselves in a lot of ways as protectors of mankind, in a way, against Fae, which in a lot of mentality they consider to be not necessarily friendly beings towards humans, and a lot of them aren't. But anyways, Lark and Seamus are, they kind of want to throw off those restrictions, and they want to live a normal life, and I would like to talk more about their story. I think I've talked about it before, but it's a bit interesting and fun. So those are my bad boys. I'm trying to think, looking at my dolls and thinking about their stories, if anybody else really fits that so much. And I think those are probably the main ones. And as far as villains go, if that's what the question means, do I have villains? And I do. And Lear is probably the most villainy type character. Everybody has their motivations and their reasons for doing things that make sense to them. So sometimes it's a point of view, but for most point of views, a lot would probably consider him to be a bit of a villain. He does things that are not so nice. In the same respect, Danu could be considered in a lot of ways villainous. Some of the things that she has done through the ages. So ultimately, overall, it's probably beneficial or meant to be beneficial, but there's some malignant parts to that. So anyways, and I talked about the stories in other videos a little bit. Number 8, are there couples in your story or love interest? And yeah, definitely, I have lots of couples. I like couples. I make couples. The couples that I had coming into this before dolls would be Danu and Cernunnos. So that's my Doll Chateau Christina and my Granado Titan. And Herla and Gahern were a couple, a married couple before dolls the doll thing happened. Other couples that I think I'm looking at the dolls to kind of help me. But I do have some other couples. So Seamus and Edith, I consider a couple. These two back here, Lark and Lady, they have their, a thing. Oh, how could I forget? His head's missing, so it didn't come to me. But Alondria and her husband Amergen, their story and their characters and their story and their relationship happened long before dolls too. So other couples, Edward and Lilas, their characters are not super strong, but I do consider them to be a bit of a couple. I always have them sitting together, and they just seem like they go together. So I don't know a lot about that yet. That's okay. Not really so much a couple, but Amelia has a huge crush on Xian. So Amelia is my my Let's Jurio 5 head. That's on a Feeple 60 Moe girl body. So they're not a couple, but so Xian, the idea behind him was that he was going to be my incoming. It's probably going to be another 6 or 7 months. It'll be a year before I ever see that doll, my tan twiggling Elbe. The idea was that her and Xian would be the cat gods, basically. So we'll see. I don't know how that's going to go. You never know until you have the dolls together. They might say, no way, that's not going to work, or it might work great. So we'll see. Dolls don't follow directions. Characters don't follow directions. Always the greatest. So let's see. I can't really think of any distinct couples. These two have been sitting together a lot, but I don't know if I would consider them a couple yet. I don't know. I'm still waiting for these signals to come through. Number 9. There we go. Number 9. Story before doll or doll before story? Both. So I just mentioned a lot of things that I just went through, that these couples and characters that existed long before dolls did, years before dolls came into the picture. So they weren't necessarily the first to be shelled. That's been a process. So there has been a mix of dolls that came in and they were given characters at the time that I got them, or afterwards, so it's been a mix of those things. And then there are some dolls who are sitting here and still don't have characters, like I said, and that's okay too. But both. I've had characters for many years that are now that are now dolls. Okay. One moment. Thought the mailman was here, but it wasn't. Okay, where was I with questions? Just answered number 9, story before doll or doll before story. Number 10, whose story influenced you to write your story or to join the hobby? So I didn't really follow a lot of doll people or know about their stories. I'd been in the hobby for probably almost a year before I really started, you know, doing more community stuff. Right, sorry, or join the hobby. So to join the hobby, that I blame fully on Miss Mantis. She was a good friend for many years before dolls, and we had a lot of RP characters, you know, that were close relationships and stuff. So she got she started getting ball jointed dolls, and I remember like my impression of ball jointed dolls, and this probably came from seeing enchanted dolls on DeviantArt or something, was that they were made of porcelain, they were very fragile, and cost thousands of dollars. And so when she, you know, said that she was getting this, I was like, oh, you know, it's gonna break, and it's so expensive. And it was expensive. It wasn't thousands of dollars, but so she started getting dolls, and so I got dolls too, and we got dolls together. So that kind of happened. But I've definitely at this point, you know, been a lot more active in the hobby community the last year, or, you know, I started getting more into other people's stories, their doll stories, and so I'm very interested in a lot of people's stories at this point, and their characters, and it makes it a lot of fun. So whose crew would you cross over with? Well, my crew does cross over with Miss Mantis. I cannot talk today, I'm sorry for all the stuttering today, guys. But Miss Mantis has dolls that are related to mine. Like Verve is related to Neela. She's her half-sister. And Gahern is actually Miss Mantis's character. The character belongs to her, and she allowed me to shell him. And he can live here with me. But he and Herla, you know, were married for a long time before we ever got into dolls. So we have crossovers. Her character Altajid has had many RPs with Neela and Danu, so there's lots of crossovers there. But other people in the hobby, I really haven't considered that so much, but that's kind of a fun thought. I don't really do RP anymore, just because I can't like type on the computer or spend a lot of time working on computers. So unfortunately I can't really do that. But like, whose worlds would I not mind visiting? I absolutely love Denali Wynn's characters, and I could see them visiting. And I really like a lot of course, when I'm on the spot, I should have thought of some answers ahead of time, because now my mind has gone blank. But it's a fun thought, you know, because I really enjoy a lot of people's characters. So, I'm sorry, my brain went dead on that. Number 12. Okay, I think this is the last question. How much did you enjoy making or writing your story? Totally, utterly obsessed with it for years now. I don't know, that means I probably enjoy it, right? But it means to me and has meant a lot to me for many years. It's very special to me. So it's my escape. It's my escape, in my reward, basically, for dealing with the real world. So I think a lot of us understand that. And our dolls, and if you have stories for your dolls or not, they are our escape. So. Um, so that was the last question. It's very good. I will put the question. I'll put the in the link in the description. I'll put a link to the original and the questions so that you can do them too. And I tag everybody who watches this. I don't know who's done it and who hasn't at this point, but everybody that I'm subscribed to, I would love to see them do this tag if they haven't already. Okay. I'm hoping my heads will arrive pretty soon. It's 2:30. The mail usually comes at 1:30 and it still hasn't come. So fingers crossed, guys, that my head's coming soon. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.